Where is my passion, purpose? Where can I find it? Where is my passion, purpose? Where can I find it? Where is my passion, purpose? Where can I find it? Dr. Walls and friends, where I find it? Dr. Walls and friends. Dr. Walls and friends, where I find it? Dr. Walls and friends. I find passion, purpose, inspiration to add.
Le moun mande mwen ki plas ou sorti ti fi. Premier bagay mwen ka wepon se mwen se just Saint Lucie. Then they ask, nah, what ends you reppin'? What's your postcode? I exhale, and with a sunshine smile, I simply reply that I do not rep ends or a postcode. I represent an island, a place that I call home. If you're asking me for my area code, it's 758. If you're asking me the precise geographical location of where I'm from, I'll tell you that my home lies amid the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. 238 square miles of picturesque scenery. She is known as the Helen of the West Indies and shapes every atom of my identity. I am from a land where beauty is not loud or overbearing, but simply striking, exquisite, and luminary from within. Though her soils have been trodden over 14 times, they are no less fertile. They remain enriched with the seeds of multicultural roots from Europeans, African slaves, Arawak Indians, and Caribs too. Yet when I cross new lands, I am labeled as foreign fruit, for it takes time for others to gain insight as they sit and overlook. My culture, my diversity. So I stand tall like the pitons harnessed to a strong sense of national identity. And when I am repeatedly questioned as to why, my home is not regarded as the place in which I reside, in my justification I can only reply that home is where the heart lies. I am from a land where knowledge is wealth, a place of prosperity and fidelity, where the warmth of the sun is reflected in my people, in their characters and in their skin. See, we have sepia tones due to cocoa brown skins enriched with melanin. I come from a place independent, where toil and hard graft are no secret. Long before 1979, my people have sweat to fertilize soils for their livelihood and to ensure that their families are well kept. I come from an island of balance, where among the hard labor we still find the chance to embrace the sublime around us and enjoy nature at its best. Yet when the weekend arrives or it's Vaval time, we still go fet. After fet, after fet. Let there be no mistake that my people, we know how to have fun. Because when time comes, it's pure wine and get on in true, get on our fashion. Yes, we're a versatile nation with an acute sense of time appropriation. From a young age, we are encouraged to learn, encouraged to take pride in ourselves with manners and decorum. And so it breaks my heart, it saddens me to know that people choose to bring ill publicity to a place that I call home. Youth forsaking their national culture for the imitation of another, committing crime after crime, and yet they remain unwilling to serve or to do the time. Living ignorant lifestyles, being vile and hostile, forgetting the toils of their forefathers and ancestors, going adrift, severing ties to their anchors. I may have only been a child, but I still remember when Trini Calypsonian Gypsy sang to the little black boy corrupted by violence and gangs. He sang to him to go to school and learn, encouraging him to show some concern. There's far too much beauty in my country to be idle and let it go to waste. So I pray that we continue to encourage our youth to make their world a better place. Keep them tied to their foundations so that regardless of migration, they hold a sense of pride and relation to their history and their nation. Mommy encouraged me to be world class, to stay rooted to my nationality. So now I infect the world with my Lucian pride, promoting an awareness of cultural identity. Yes, no matter where I go, everyone knows where I am from. A proud Lucian, this is me. Tell them, sing it loud and proud of where you come from. Where you come from. Yes, be proud, where you come from, be proud, come from St. Lucia.
Renee Brown, can you please come up right now? This is our principal who allowed all of this to happen.
I'm dressed as Angela Davis now. Okay. So now what is this event? Basically we have a plan and so we kind of create and so we promote things on and so there's a lot of talk about creativity. We thought it was a big opportunity because you know our pre-engineering academy, the gamers, sometimes some of the cartoonists, and this is a real profession that we need to promote and just really give our kids an option. We don't give them as many options as they need. This is highly interesting. I mean, the kids are so engaged, like 100% engagement. So it's a good way to kind of sell something by showing them. And you never know if they're actually committed to produce cartoons or something like that. And then also, he has his own. And so we all believe in literature. Just education. Like, that's what we don't understand. We know literature, like, just produce the interest. Exactly. Thank you so much, all of you, for just doing great for our children. And babies. We'll be back shortly.
This is the bad girl's anthem. I'm tired of it. Being a good girl. But now I'm gone bad. Sick and tired of crying every night, hurting from the pain you brothers put us through, loving you so right, and you do us wrong. Well, it's about time you listen to this song. Bad to the bone, rough to the core, ain't gonna take you no more. Ain't that girl that you knew before. I'm a bad girl, real bad girl. So stylish, I'm a bad girl. I'm really bad. Good girl gone bad. See, from now on, the world revolves around us. No more sacrificing, giving our all. No more of your stress, dealing with your mess. If it ain't about us, then we could care less. Bad to the bone, rough to the core, ain't gonna take you no more. Ain't that girl that you knew before. I'm a bad
veteran of the visual arts, community. And one of my interests is to take the value and the power of imagery and try to reprogram the subconscious of not just black people, but people in general.
Okay.
Because images are some of the primary things that mislead us into the wrong narratives and paradigms.
Yes, yes, that is so true. So true. So now, when did this start for you? When did you know?
As a 5-year-old.
Really?
I was one of those prodigy children. But see, when you get the title prodigy, has a lot to do with your financial breeding. Since I came from a family that was not wealthy,
Yes.
prodigy wasn't the term used. And they didn't know how to channel or support the gifts that I had. So I went largely unsupported by my family. So it was my rebellious nature that caused me to get the title of black sheep. Because,
Prodigy to black sheep.
well, because sometimes parents, and this is of all nationalities, are not hip or sharp to the level of observation that they're supposed to have in order to discern their child's trajectory in life.
Yes.
That's a part of your job as a parent. I have grown children. I know what I'm speaking of from that experience. So they are still genetically and influentially a part of what you see here.
Yes.
But the direct support, like if I was a football player or a basketball player, as an artist I couldn't get that.
Yes.
Because we don't value artists in the same capacity as we do some of these other gifts.
That's true.
So
So what are
it was-
some words for inspiration for those who do have gifts such as yours and others?
any and everything, like if you're an artist, you feed your mind and your spirit any and everything that has to do with art. Because what that'll do is that'll build your knowledge base in what you are doing.
Yes.
From a lot of different sources, and from that source material you will find your voice. So I'll say it like the ancient Egyptians: know thyself.
Yes.
From knowing yourself, then you can project that self-knowing onto another subject, be it knowing, looking at your cat and learning your cat's behavior, to observing your own children
Yes.
and understanding their behavior.
So important. So important. Now tell us about the work that you have here.
Well, some of the work that I have here, like I have different books that I've published that are either collections of the early works that I did in comic books to collections of my paintings, which people really favor. Because I'm not
Okay.
really a comic artist. I'm more of a painter who does comics.
Oh,
So
interesting.
my skill is in telling a story in a single image. Because there's a lot of information you can put in a single image
Yes.
that then excites the subconscious
So
and
can
the
you,
conscious mind.
I agree. So can you give us an example? So for instance, with this one right here, what is the story?
Well, this one, and I'm sure he zoomed in on it, this one right here, this is me as a futuristic character. And one of the things that's in the story of this image is possibly what future technology looks like.
Okay.
Because if you notice the bike, it doesn't have a center hub in the
Yes.
wheel.
Yes.
So it suggests that we are on another level technologically. That's some of the things that I'll imbue my work with. The Blood of Titans, for example. This happens to be one of my, if not the most popular piece of work that I've done. And I'm aware of its popularity because I think black people like to see themselves as successful unions.
Yes.
And we don't see that. We see a lot of fragment. Like, even for instance, looking at a Benetton ad and constantly seeing a group of Caucasians with a minority group in them, and those minorities are never standing together. That gives the subconscious mind of the viewer a fact that black people are supposed to be separated.
Interesting.
And we start to live that.
Yes.
Because these images are programming. We are programmed.
Yes.
So I'm here to deprogram
Okay.
or reprogram.
All right now. So now for people who would like to find out more about you, buy your works, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? And
I
get a
tell
hold of your
people,
work?
I usually give out my URL. But what I do is I tell people to Google Mshindo I.
All right.
MSHINDOI, and what you'll get is a plethora of things. I own that Google search.
All right.
So it'll be maybe 7 to 12 pages just on me that will come up.
Yes.
And you can read about my interviews, my process, you can get videos on the process, the books that I've sold, you can get everything. So if people do that, they can find me.
I think that's wonderful because just talking to you right now, we can talk for hours.
Oh, we can.
About programming and deprogramming
We can.
and
We can.
consciousness and
Because I want the children to use the God-given talents, not just to express for favor from the environment,
Yes.
but we need to be self-sufficient. And if God imbues us with talents, that means that any talent can be monetized.
Yes.
So we need to teach them through their own creative capacity, monetization, so that we don't have to worry about going to someone and asking them if it's okay if we do something,
Yes.
or get
Yes.
something, or have
Yes.
something.
So now how did you shift, as we get ready to close, how did you shift from hobby, and I'm assuming maybe it started as a hobby or was deemed as a hobby?
It was deemed that.
It was
more,
deemed
yeah.
that way because you knew at 5
I did.
what it was.
I did.
You knew it was passion and purpose for you.
I did. I did.
To the monetization piece, how did you make that shift?
I dropped out of high school.
Wow. See, we're going to have to take a pause. We're going to take a commercial break and come right back and pick up on that. Okay? All right. We'll be back in a moment on
Right.
Dr. Walls and Friends.
Down and out, can't seem to find my way back home. Where do I belong?
Welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends, and we were just left with a cliffhanger. So you dropped out of high school.
I did. Sometimes the black family is a broken structure, and mine was no different. Even though I was fortunate to have both parents,
Yes.
but their duties as parents and working and so forth didn't allow them certain times to sensitivities towards me. So that neglect led to me dropping out of high school because I was up for a scholarship and I needed some money to buy the tools to package my work to present for the scholarship.
Okay.
And I couldn't get it from my parents. And it was that led me to feeling that this can't be that important.
Okay.
So I just dropped out of school.
Wow.
And when I dropped out of school, my mother kicked me out of the house. So it was these different processes.
Series of events.
Yes.
Catalysts almost, so to speak.
That led me to forcing myself to be self-sufficient.
Yes.
Because I'm not really the answer to masters kind of dude. And I can teach the children that.
Okay.
You find your center,
Yes.
and it is from your center that you find God. And once you find the God, then your opportunities and the possibilities that you got access to open up incredibly, because God is about abundance.
Yes.
It's about eternal, something that is vast.
Teach.
And we think too limited. So I'm here to tell the children, and I don't want to really promote to them the drop out of high school part. That was
Right.
my journey.
That's your right.
That might not be your journey.
Exactly.
So you can't just superficially look at what I've done and then assimilate that.
Right.
Use your own self-observation to figure out what your journey is.
That's right.
But just understand whatever direction you take, if you invest in it, you'll be successful.
That's right. Well, I think that's the best way to pause. All right. Thank you so much for spending this time
you
with
very
us.
much. It's a pleasure.
All right. And we'll be back on Dr. Walls and Friends.
Dr. Walls and Friends, where I find it. Dr. Walls